What are quotation marks? Quotation marks are a form of punctuation that serve a variety of functions. Quotation marks indicate spoken language, enclose direct quotations, someone's exact words. Identify titles of shorter works or a work that is part of a larger work. Recognize a word as a word. Denote nicknames, offensive terms, expressions, and sarcasm, often called scare quotes. Set off a quote within a quote through the use of single quotation marks. The placement of punctuation when using quotation marks depends on multiple factors: type of punctuation, sentence content, placement of quoted material. The general rule in American English is to include a period or comma inside the quoted material. First, introduce the quote with open quotation marks, and then end it with a period or comma and closing quotation marks. There are two exceptions to this rule. Exception 1, when the comma comes after an introductory phrase or clause. Exception 2, if there is a parenthetical citation at the end of the sentence, the period should be placed after the parentheses of the citation. The placement of a question mark depends upon the quoted material in the sentence. If the quoted material contains the question, place it inside the last quotation mark. If the question is not part of the quotation, place it outside the last quotation mark. Exclamation points adhere to the same rule as quotation marks. When using colons and semicolons, the punctuation typically is placed after the quoted material. The only exception is if the punctuation mark is part of the directly quoted material. Outside colon. The students coined the three hardest classes as the tricky trio: analytical geometry, world history, and advanced Latin. Inside semicolon. The employee thought the pay increase helped workers around the holidays. However, it still wasn't enough. MLA, APA style, and Chicago Manual style each have nuanced rules about the use of quotation marks, so be sure to consult the appropriate style guide. However, when using quotation marks, the following general rules apply. Punctuation. Rule 1. Use double quotation marks to set off word-for-word quotations, dialogue, or attributions. Do not use quotation marks for indirect quotations. Rule 2. Use commas to introduce or interrupt direct quotations. Rule 3. Commas and periods typically are placed inside quotations. Colons and semicolons are placed outside. Rule 4. Question marks and exclamation marks are placed inside quotation marks if they are part of the quoted material, and outside if they are not. Capitalization. Rule 1. Capitalize the first word in a complete sentence, even if it starts mid-sentence. Rule 2. Do not start a quote with a capital letter if it is a continuation of a sentence. Rule 3. When splitting a quote to add a parenthetical, do not capitalize the second part of the quote. Single versus double quotation marks. Rule 1. Use single quotation marks for quotations within quotations. Rule 2. Use single quotation marks to enclose a quote within an article title or with a title in a quote. Titles. The only rule is to use quotation marks to enclose the titles of short works or those that are part of a larger work, such as poems, short stories, and songs.